Hey. You already know what time it is. It's consulting time, and it's your girl, Lily Mae. And this evening is going to be magnificent. And the reason it's going to be magnificent is because we are going to talk about all things writing this evening. We're going to talk about the literary process. And so I am so honored to feature Michelle P. Jones this evening. And she is the writer's coach, and she helps writers birth their literary masterpieces. Now. She does have a publishing company. She's a international best-selling author, ordained minister, business and writing strategist, speaker, blogger, podcaster. She does a wide array of things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring Michelle out, and we are just going to have a funky good time talking about the literary process. Hello, Michelle.
How are you?
I am amazing, utterly amazing. And you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you. And thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited.
Absolutely. We're going to have an amazing time. And so, guys, right now, if you're tapped in, go ahead and start thinking about the questions that you may have, because we're going to have a good time tonight just really talking about writing. But Michelle, introduce yourself to the audience as Michelle, the woman that's making it do what it do.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Michelle P. Jones. I am the writer's coach, and I'm also the owner of Michelle P. Jones Incorporated and Bledsoe Publishing, LLC. I do all things writing. I take authors, wannabe authors, trying to be authors, from the beginning of the writing process all the way through to actually having a finished product within 31 days. So if you work with me with the Authors Boot Camp, we'll have you a finished manuscript in 31 days. Wow. And then we can take you right on through the actual publishing process, which could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months, depending on what it is that you want to do. I teach the business of writing. I don't just teach writing. I teach the business of writing. Because
come through
behind writing. So I work with entrepreneurs.
Yes. So guys, she is teaching the business of writing, not just writing because you want to write, the actual business of writing. That is amazing. So for the listeners and for those individuals who may not know, tell everybody what the manuscript is.
The manuscript is actually your book. It would be everything except for the cover. So everything on the inside of the book, everything except for the cover is your
Okay.
manuscript. And
All
so
right. So we want to make sure they understand.
we take you through the entire writing process. So when I work with an author, I show them everything. I show them the tips and the tools that they need to be able to create an environment of writing. Because a lot of times we think writing is hard, and it's not. It's because we put too much expectation on ourselves. I'm a firm believer that you are the conduit in which God uses to tell the story. So you have to make sure that you are aligned with God to receive the download, so you can either type it on your computer or write it in your hand, whether it's holding a pen or a pencil or whether it is actually on a keyboard. It is the scribe that God is using to tell the story that he has created within you to share with the world.
Wow, amazing. And it's so amazing that you talked about creating that space, right, for writing, because that was something I was going to ask you. What do you specifically need in your writing space to help you stay focused?
Well, number one, you can't go and write cold. You can't
Hmm.
just sit down and say, "Okay, I'm gonna pick up this pencil. Okay, God, here we go. Let's get busy."
Absolutely.
You can't write cold, so you have to get yourself positioned. So one of the things that I teach my clients is we actually do a 10-minute, what I call manifestation session, and it is a meditation period. And
Okay.
so you are giving yourself permission to release everything that has clogged up your heart and mind throughout your day
Indeed.
up until that point, and then you are getting clear and centering yourself so that you can receive your download. And then we take you through an 8 to 10 minute writing prompt so that you are not writing cold. You're starting to allow the creative juices to get flowing.
Okay.
You're opening yourself up to receive what God has to say to you and what he wants you to put down on your paper. And so that's how you really should start. And then when you write at a time that is a heightened time for you. If you are a morning person, write in the morning. If you are a night owl, write at night. If you're one of those people you do better in the afternoons, write in the afternoons. I'm a firm believer in how I live my life is God gets my first fruits in the morning. So I get up in the morning, I do my meditation and my prayer and my journaling, and then I start my day so that I'm able to connect with him without having to experience anything else in the day that may take my focus away from what it is he's trying to say to me.
Okay, so what it sounds like is you're helping writers create like a strategic plan,
Yes, ma'am.
taking what that goal is and breaking it down into actionable steps so that they can create this masterpiece. That's amazing. Utterly amazing, because I think that there's a distinct difference between a writer and an author.
Exactly.
And can you speak to that, Michelle? Can you speak to your, perspective on the difference between a writer and an author?
An author is one that has published works. So it could be songs, poems, books, anything that is published.
Okay.
A writer is a person who enjoys writing. They can journal, they can write books, children's books, whatever, but it's only because they love to do it. It's their release. It brings joy to their lives. And so they position themselves to be able to use that writing opportunity, sometimes even to clear out their hearts and minds so that they are not bogged down by the different cares of life and life happening moments. But that's the difference between the two. Because before I ever became an author, I was a writer. I'm an avid writer. Even now, I'm an avid writer. Before I put a manuscript on my computer, it comes out in a notebook. I might have 2 or 3 notebooks, but it's all in a notebook because I need to have that connection with the words on the page and with God. So that is how I release what it is. And people's like, well, Michelle, you have so many different things that you can actually write on. That might be true. But when I first started writing, I was a little girl with the journal that had the little lock on it with the
Yes.
pencil. And when I tell you, I still write in my journals. I create my own journals now.
Okay.
So I still write in my journals. I still use a pencil to write because that is what I'm familiar with. And so I make it as simple as possible for me. And so since I know that simplicity gives me the opportunity to open myself up to what God has to say, I teach that to my clients as well.
Wow, guys. So, guys, just to go back and recap, we've talked a little bit about, the difference between a writer and an author, but we've also talked about the importance of sitting down and preparing. It's almost like you're planning to prepare for the plan, for the execution
Exactly.
of the plan. And so, that's amazing. So, we're going to get into the publishing, but has writing and publishing a book changed the way you view yourself?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
How so?
When I started this journey, I was a business coach. And I got tired of repeating myself to my clients.
Hmm.
And so one day I was complaining to God about my clients. And I was like, I keep repeating the same thing over and over again. I'm just not understanding why they ain't getting it. And he said, well, why don't you put it in a book and just give it to them? And I was like, you know what? That is a great idea. Let me put it in a book.
Uh-huh.
And so I did. That was my first foray into publishing, and I had
Okay.
self-published that book. So I'm a researcher. So I'm on Google researching what I need to do, what platforms are available to me, all of this. And so I literally in 2000 and I want to say 17, I
Mm-hmm.
published my first book.
Okay.
And it was Grasping Your Success: 6 Steps to Starting and Legitimizing Your Business.
Got
And
it.
so I put it in a book, and whenever I would have a new client, I would give them the book. And I say, here's the book, complete chapter 1, and then we'll talk about it. So I would give them homework out of the book to make sure that they were doing what it was that they needed to do. Because a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, most times people are lazy by nature. If they can get you to do what it is that they're supposed to do, they're going to play dumb until they get to the point where you're like, forget it, I'll just do it myself.
Whew, okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not serving anybody.
It's not, indeed.
Because you're always going to have to come back to me to help you do whatever it is. And
Definitely.
I ascribe to the mindset that I can either give you a fish and feed you once, or I can teach you to fish and feed you for a lifetime.
For a lifetime.
So I teach my clients to fish so that they
Mm-hmm.
have a skill that makes sure that they're fed for a lifetime.
Wow. Guys, if you're just chiming in, this is Michelle Jones, and she is utterly amazing. And so she is a writer's coach, and not just a writer's coach, but we're going to shift gears and we're going to get into publishing. So, Michelle, let's just dive right into it. I'm just going to ask the question just like this. How do books get published?
Well, there's a couple of different ways that you can publish a book. You can self-publish or you can use a publisher. If you self-publish, then everything is on you. And there are so many tools out there in the world that you can use in order to help you self-publish on a dime. So it's very, very cheap. But publishing is where the publisher does everything for you except write the book. So there's independent publishers, which I am. I'm an independent publisher. And then there are traditional publishers. And so traditional publishers are the ones that everybody wants to get in with because they pay you in order to publish your book. But in the paying you lose your rights to your book. So you have to be careful because you may be signing away percentages of your books to these traditional publishing houses. And they're the bigger ones. They're the ones like the Obamas when they did their books. That too, it was a big traditional publisher that published their
Okay.
book.
Okay.
Independent publishers, for the most part, had been only available to our Caucasian brothers and sisters. It was very few of us, people of color, that
Absolutely.
actually stepped
Absolutely.
out into the publishing realm. After I wrote my third book, God began to speak to me about publishing and learning what that process looks like.
Yes. Yes.
So I didn't just decide I was going to one day put my banner up and say, here I am, I'm a publisher. I actually took courses.
You
I'm
did the
a
research.
part of organizations that deal with women in publishing, Black women in publishing. And so what I have done is I have gone and sat up under our Caucasian brothers and sisters, mainly our sisters, and I have gleaned from them the stuff that they've been knowing forever that our community is just now finding out.
Absolutely.
So then I
Absolutely.
take that information and I put it in the plan that God had given me, and then I offer it to my clients. And so, what makes publishing for an independent publisher unique is that we gear the package to the client. You don't have to
Mm.
fit into be
Indeed.
a circle trying to fit into a square. We will be able to get that package together that meets the client's needs, whatever
Yes,
that may be.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Listen, shout out to everybody tapping in. And like Angie said, she said you made yourself a SME.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
in corporate America, we call it SMEs. You know, over there on the HR side, they call them subject matter experts. Same thing, SME. And Michelle, this is amazing because on this side of things, you know, of course I have the platform, but I spend a lot of time working with educating independent creatives. And one of the struggles is pretty much what you're saying. You know, we have to often go there to
Hmm.
get the information that we may not have access to and then bring it back. But I want to ask you this. Do you ever find that sometimes, even in presenting the information, it is not received until all other options are exhausted?
Oh, definitely. Oh,
Okay.
definitely. Girl,
So that's across the board then.
girl. And one of the things, and I actually had somebody reach out to me. Now, mind you, I've done the certifications to be an independent publisher. I've taken the courses. I've done what it is that I need to do. I had somebody come to me and say, "Well, sis, why don't you give me a discount? Why don't you help a brother out?" And I got a slick mouth, so I had to catch myself because I got a very slick mouth. And so I told him, I said, "So if I was of a different persuasion, the Caucasian persuasion, would you have asked me that?" And he looked at me. He said, "Well, no, their prices are set." I said, "Well, treat me like that because my prices are set."
Wait a minute, back up. Wait, whoa. The audacity that
Yes,
came with what he asked of you, well, what he requested of you, and then had the nerve to say, but their prices are set. Well, y'all set too.
yes, ma'am.
Guys, if you're just checking in, it's consulting time, and y'all already know that just took my goat, as my mama used to say. It took my whole entire goat. And Andrew, you are so right. You are so right. You can't go to Mercedes Benz
That's
and
right.
ask for a discount unless, of course, you work for one of these companies that got that program with them. Come on now. But you know what? It's us. And one thing about it, I can't speak for nobody else. It is us. We don't want to pay for anything. We can go and buy bags, shoes, liquor, weed, and all that other stuff. But when it comes to investing in education to help us build our businesses, we ain't got it.
That's right.
We ain't got it. And I tell people quick, it cost me over $200,000 to get everything that I got up here.
There you go.
So I'm going to serve when I'm required to serve, but don't get it twisted. Child, Lord. Well. Everybody wants something for nothing. But in reality, everything costs.
Exactly.
Everything costs. And Michelle, let me ask you this. How often do you barter in your business?
It depends on what the services are. If it's it, I'm a firm believer that if what you have to offer equates in my mind of what value is to what I have to offer you, I'll barter with you.
Indeed.
But if there is an uneven exchange of services, then I'm not going to barter, because I need for you to understand that what you have to offer has to have a value that I'm willing to invest in.
That's it. That's it.
And so
That's
I
it.
think in our community, we sometimes have a hard time understanding that you get nothing if you give nothing. But if you give something of value, you're going to get a return on that investment based on the value that the person is receiving it has decided to place on it as they receive it. What I offer, you're not just getting someone that's going to put a cover on a book and put it out in the marketplace, because my logo's on the back of that book. And that logo represents my company.
That's it.
And if it's not going to represent my company well, then I'm not putting it out in the marketplace, which sometimes rubs people the wrong way, because every potential author is not my client.
Indeed. And I think that's the hardest thing, and I'm very, transparent. I'm still kind of working through that. I think that sometimes, in the grand scheme of things, I want to help everybody that needs this particular thing, but really figuring out what's your who's your assignment and who's somebody else's assignment,
Exactly.
and really who ain't even no assignment at all. They actually a liability. And so, figuring that out. But we have a couple of publishers that checked in. And so Loretta, she is a publisher and an author, and she said, not one lie told by you. Guys, if you're chiming in, especially if you're chiming in from the It's Consulting Time group, make sure that your permissions are on so that StreamYard will pick up your name. I want to post your comments, but if I post your comments, it's just going to say Facebook user. It's not going to show the amazing people that are chimed in. So shout out to everybody that's chimed in. And definitely, don't forget, bartering is a form of exchange of goods and services and can be written off on taxes. So make sure you do it real. Yes, you better tell it, girl.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Michelle, what do the words writer's block mean to you?
Foolishness.
Ooh.
Because there's no such thing.
Oh, all right now. Okay.
There is no such thing as a writer's block.
I feel like what you're saying is self-block. Ain't no writer's block.
Yeah, you blocking yourself.
Ooh.
There is no such, if you are a true writer, you have a system and a method in which to write.
Absolutely.
And you have a connection with the creator, because you know where your downloads come from. Ooh. So if you are not receiving your downloads, then that means you are out of alignment and you are existing in foolishness. And so you need to get back into alignment so that you can receive your downloads. Sometimes those downloads mean you need to do some fasting and praying. Sometimes it means you need to get everybody out of your space and you need to sanctify that space so that the creator feels welcome to come in and then create with you. Because we have to understand, we were created. We didn't just pop and here we are. We were created. There is a creator. And that creator is the one that created us in his image and in his likeness. And then he gave us dominion. He told us to go forth and to take care of the land and to multiply. He wasn't just talking about having children. He's talking about, as I give you visions, as I give you dreams, as I give you assignments, then I need you to go and multiply that in the earth. But if you are not in alignment with me, then that means I can't give you the downloads that you need to go forth and multiply.
Say so. You know what? Say so. That's it. Say so. Guys, y'all listen. And this is for songwriters. Guys, that's why everybody needs to be in tune with the
Amen.
information and education that's presented to you from its consulting time. You know, guys, there's a reason it's called It's Consulting Time, because we're consulting with experts so that you can get free information.
Right.
Free information, but people would rather look at the latest gossip on the social media, or see, you know, who then got killed, or this celebrity sleeping with this one, or this one got this and that, versus this is valuable information. Like, some of you could take this information right now and go sit down and start writing. But you don't hear me though. You don't hear me though. So, Michelle, what do you think is the best way to improve one's writing skills?
Do your homework, do your research, find out, number one, really get clear on what your assignment is for writing. Okay. Not every person that has an assignment of writing is going to be an author. You might be a writer that does blogs. You might be a writer that does articles for different magazines and newspaper publications. There are so many different ways that a writer can show up in their truth. And so it's about what it is that you have to say, and where your community is that is meant to receive what it is that you have to say. Because it's a waste of time to write, to put out books, but you never can connect to the community that is meant to receive your information. That's a waste of time.
Okay. Pause. Guys, I don't care what discipline, I don't care what industry, I don't care where you are. What Michelle just said, I need every creative under the sound of my voice, those that are not in real time. If you're watching this a week or a month from now, if you are putting out and putting out and putting out and putting out, and there is no ROI, there is no return on the investment of time and energy that you're putting into this, you might need to rethink what you want to do and take some time to soul search and figure out what you need to do.
Well, even in that, Lily Mae, they need to understand who their ideal reader or their ideal customer is. Because a lot of times we fail to understand that once you've identified who that ideal person is that you are doing this service or creating this product for, then everything that you do is for that individual.
That's it.
And that even when you market it, it's for that individual. So you began to look at, what do I need to do, as she said, to target that audience? Because what we don't understand, and I'm a high creative. There's very little that I cannot do.
Okay, come on.
As a creative, I have to sometimes be careful that I'm tapping into my audience for whatever it is that I'm creating in that season and in that moment. Because not everything that I'm creating is for everybody.
Oh, okay.
I have a different audience for my journals than I do for my books. I have a different audience for programming that I write and copywriting that I do of that programming than I do for my journals and my books. So you have to be clear on who your audience is, and then you have to market to that audience. And that's where your research comes in. You got to do your market research to find out where they are.
Yep.
Because once you do your market research, you know where they are. You know what kind of movies they like to watch. You know what kind of books they like to read. You know the kind of sayings that get their attention, that'll perk them up. And so once you tap into that information and you start putting it out there in the universe, it's going to draw that community to you, and they're going to start consuming the product that you've put out into the marketplace.
utterly amazing. Guys, y'all can't have no more. Nope. So this is what you're gonna do. If you want to know more about writing, if you want to know more about publishing, if you want to know more about the literary process, you need to contact Michelle. So, Michelle, what I would like for you to do right now, let everybody know where they can contact you.
It's very easy. You can go to mjones at bledsoepublishing.com, and that's my email address for the Bledsoe Publishing. And or you can do mjones at michellepjones.com. That'll
Okay.
get the information to me. Or the end of both of those is both of my websites. You can hit up the websites. There is a contact page, and you can
Okay.
throw a contact in there, and I'll get back with you. I'm on all social media platforms. You can catch me on Facebook as MZ Michelle P. Jones.
All right.
You can catch me also as Bledsoe Publishing on Facebook. We're on Instagram as Bledsoe Publish on Instagram, and Michelle P. Jones on Instagram. So I'm everywhere. If you put in Michelle P. Jones, this face will pop up.
Okay, everybody, you heard it. Michelle P. Jones, not only is she a writer, not only is she a writing coach, she is a podcaster, she's a
Yes, ma'am.
blogger, publisher, author, speaker. And guys, I want you to understand you can find her any and everywhere and on all platforms. And you definitely want to make sure that you check out the Unapologetically Michelle show. And
Yes,
it's a
ma'am.
space where voices are heard, information is disseminated, and people are encouraged, guys. And so, with that being stated, Michelle, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming this evening and just sitting down and having a funky good time with us. Guys, thank y'all for chiming in. Y'all were engaged. That's when you know you've done your market research. The people are engaged, the people are excited, they understand the content and the information that you're providing. You are a creative, you are an innovator, you are a leader. And tonight, guys, you just got served some joy, jewels, and justice. Have a great evening, ladies and gentlemen.